Treasure Cove is a new co-op survival horror game where you and up to 3 other players head to a cursed island in search of buried treasure. The developers gave me early access to the game and sponsored this video, so today I'm going to show you what the game is, how the basic treasure hunting loop works, and some of the things you'll need to watch out for while exploring the island. The idea is pretty straightforward. You follow clues, use your map, search for treasure, dig it up, and then try to make it back out while dealing with the creatures roaming the island. Treasure Cove can also be played solo, but with support for up to 4 players in proximity voice chat, it is clearly built around that chaotic co-op experience. So let's jump in and take a closer look at how it all works. So first off, when you jump into Treasure Cove, you're able to host your own lobby, and you can invite some of your friends into this lobby. And once you've done that, you're going to set out on the ship over to the treasure island. And when you get there, well, you've got nothing. You are bare bones with absolutely nothing. And in order to start to gather your equipment, well, you need to set out on the island and start to pick up some treasure, bring it back, drop it on the ship, which will give you some gold. And then you can start to buy the different things you're going to need, whether that be a shovel, metal detector, radar, medicine, and batteries, alongside other things that you will get like a map and markers. Now keep in mind, when you're buying these things, it is depleting your gold reserves that you've accumulated with the treasures that you've gathered, and everybody shares the same gold. Now before you set out, you want to make sure that you also got your lamp, as you're going to use this to combat these ghouls that you're going to come across. They will start to run away, but it's not really a weapon that'll take them down. It'll pretty much just scare them away a little bit, but they're going to come at you, and it's using UV light. Whereas with your regular light, you're going to be able to light the way and find clues like markers on the ground to show you where to go, which will then give you more details for your map as well, as far as where that big treasure is. And your light will also need batteries. So if you think that you're just going to walk around blaring your UV light, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to run out of battery power. So you're going to need to collect some batteries that you can find around the island, but you can also buy them as well. But once again, remember that you're going to need to watch how much gold you're using, as each round is actually requiring you to hit a certain quota. And once you've hit that quota, you can escape the island. But each round also increases the quota, and the only way you can leave the island is if you hit that quota. And that pretty much is the gameplay loop. Of course, it gets a lot more interesting as you start to get deeper into the rounds. The other aspect of this game, which adds a little more intensity, is the top right has a clock and an eyeball. And basically, as it counts down, the ghouls on the island become a lot more active. In the beginning, they're sleeping. You can go out and pretty much do anything you want to do as long as you're not waking them up, and gather that treasure, bring it back. And that's when you need to really hit the bulk of your quota, because if you're not doing it, well, they're going to be more active, and it's going to create a lot of chaos, which is when the game gets a lot more fun, a lot more exciting. There's a lot more laughing and screaming that happens alongside that. But until that timer hits 0, you have time to go in and gather as much treasure as possible. And the idea is that you do want to work as a team. You need somebody to look out. You need somebody to hold the light, scare off anything that comes, somebody to dig up the treasure, and somebody to hold the treasure and walk it back, as they walk a lot slower and can run, but the stamina depletes. And still, they're also going to be moving a lot slower, even with the ability to run, because they're carrying a treasure chest. So there's so many aspects and levels to this that I think it creates some interesting scenarios, some more scary than others, some funnier than others, but overall a very great experience. In the beginning, I found myself hunting deep into the woods for some treasure, and usually you'll come across a building. Inside that building, you will see some ghouls, but you'll also see a lot of great treasure. And when you're near these ghouls, you got to be careful how much noise you make on the mic, and also generally speaking, you don't want to move a lot, jump a lot, as you'll have a gauge that comes up showing how much noise you're allowed to make and how much is too much noise, where it'll alert the ghouls. And that's when the intensity starts, especially if you are using the microphone in game chat, where it gets really, really intense. And even if you do make it back, you still got to go back for more treasures. But of course, by that time, hey, they're going to start to wake up as that timer ticks down. And a big question might be, well, what happens once that timer hits 0? In our event that happened, well, we had a really hard time hitting quota in this one round. Basically, once the timer hit 0, the sky changed. It was red. There was red lightning, and the ghouls were super active, making it very hard for you to get some treasure and make it back. They were attacking. There was a lot of them, and it became very, very chaotic. So the idea is that you want to get that treasure quota hit way before that timer hits 0, because once it hits 0, the entire island becomes utter chaos. Now, players can be downed by the ghouls, but they can also be revived by teammates. Usually the ghouls, when they do take you down, they drag you away and your treasures are dropped and your equipment is dropped, which then you must go and gather it again. So it creates a scenario where you do not want to get down because you got to go through the hassle of trying to gather your treasures and equipment back while also dealing with these ghouls running around. And then your teammates also have to revive you. If they don't make it to you in time to revive you, you are out for that round until they make it off the island again, and then you can respawn in the next round. You are also limited on how many items you can carry. So between treasure and equipment you need to make sure you're using that inventory space wisely, which then takes into account working with your teammates and making sure that everyone's not carrying all the gear, whereas some people have different tasks, which creates a more efficient workflow, which is ideal if you want to make it into the later rounds. The fog is also quite thick. As the timer ticks down, the fog gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and you're going to need the light to be able to see much of the map. Treasure Cove really creates this gameplay loop where every item is useful. Every item has a purpose. There is no item there that you can use that is kind of just a moot item that you don't really need. You need the map. You need the radars, and there's 2 modes for the radars. One where it shows treasure and then enemies or people on the map as well, which are both super handy and required to actually have an idea of what's happening on the map, especially when you're dealing with the heavy fog that there is. So that's something that I really appreciate about Treasure Cove, is that everything has a purpose, and it really promotes teamwork and team play and making sure that you work together, especially in those instances where a lot of ghouls are coming out and they're trying to attack you, and you still need to hit your quota and grab that treasure. So one person has to use the light, one person's got to be digging, one person's got to be looking at the radar. There are so many jobs that can be assigned to different players. So effectively, Treasure Cove creates a gameplay loop that is desirable, that is varied, and that is different each time you play a new round. It's important to note that the map also changes. It's not the same map every single time. Every round brings a new map. So that is Treasure Cove. The game takes a pretty simple concept, searching for buried treasure, and mixes it with co-op survival horror, proximity chat, dangerous creatures, and pressures of actually making it back out with what you found. Treasure Cove is coming to Steam, and its Steam page goes live on July 17th. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out and add it to your wishlist. Once again, this video was sponsored by the developers, and they provided me with early access to the game. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Treasure Cove something you would play with friends, or would you be brave enough to try it solo? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Bro, grown-ass man, by the way.
You know, this actually hurts. Like, I'm spamming this shit through.